back to my YouTube channel. This is SomSpur here, and today we're here for our first battle of the season 5 of PSL, and we're going to be facing SkySplitter, and his AC Milanturns. Now, to the right is his draft. As you can see, he has a pretty scary. He has a pretty scary lineup with Muse, Kamri, Alolan Muck, Lycanroc Dusk, Noivern, Lantern, Megalopony, Blacephalon, Sylveon, Tangela, and a Claydol. Now, this matchup for us is pretty darn bad if we're if we're being quite honest about it. Because first off is that Megalopony, which we do not really have any good defensive counterplay for. There was a Mandibus set that I had thought of with Rocky Helmet and Brave Bird, but yeah, with Rocks Up, that thing just never really works. It always gets two hit KO'd by Megalop. Then there's that Blacephalon, which always enjoys quite a bit of offensive synergy with Megalopony, and that proves to be the case here as well, because stuff that Blacephalon can't really take out on my team is the Vaporeon, maybe the Magmortar, which you can see on your screen right now. Pretty interesting set. We'll talk about it in a while. Yeah, stuff like that can be taken out by the Megalopony. From a defensive point of view, he has Mew. It's really an evergreen mon in the competitive scene. The Skarmory, always annoying to deal with. Alolan Muck has a fantastic matchup against me. Like, the only mon that can reliably take this out is my Mamoswine. And Mamoswine can't be switched to an Alolan Muck because knockoff still does quite a bit. And Lycanroc Dusk has a decent matchup. +2 Lycanroc Dusk is always terrifying to face off against. Noivern doesn't have the best of matchups, but yeah, I guess he could bring it if he wants to. Other than that, the Lantern pairs up really well with the Skarmory because it resists both of the typings that Skarmory is weak to, and Skarmory resists both of the typings that Lantern is weak to. Sylveon is fantastic on this team for wish support or great bulky fairy here. Tangela is just the token grass type in here, but yeah, it's probably one of the better tier 5 grass types. And Claydol is his rapid spinner, one of the most underrated mons in draft in general. But yeah, that's his entire roster. Quite a threatening one for us to deal with, but there are some sets that I devised to try and get around his team, and I will show them off to you right now. So before I start talking about my team builder, let me tell you my thought process while prepping for this matchup. Like, thing is that, as I said, this is not a good matchup for us to start off with, so I try to pinpoint the 6 mons that he was most likely to bring against me, so that would give me like a better a better starting platform to work on. So the sets that I thought he would bring against me are defensive Rocky Helmet Mew to deal with my Mega Kangaskhan, Spike Skarmory with Shed Shell because I do not really have the best forms of hazard removal on my team, and Shed Shell helps him to get away from my Magnet Pull Magneton. Alolan Muck could be either AV or it could be a Curse set. Both of them have really good matchup against me. I'm expecting it to carry Pursuit to help trap my my Aegislash. Lycanroc Dusk, I didn't really think he would bring it in this game, although yeah, Lycan was a bit of a 50-50. He could not. Same thing with Noivern, although I think Noivern was less likely than Lycanroc. Lantern was a mon that I was 100% sure he was going to bring against me because the one mon on my team, or rather 2 mons on my team that I was most likely to bring to deal with his Skarmory, being the Magmortar and the Magneton, well, neither of them can really touch Lantern. So that's something. Megalopony was 110% confirmed to come against me because it just blows away my team. Yeah, simple as that. And finally, I thought you'd bring Scarf Blacephalon because that thing has a really decent matchup against me. Sylveon didn't really have that good of a matchup here. Stuff like Magmortar, stuff like Aegislash, Magneton, yeah, these are mons that can just break past Sylveon with raw power. And Tangela, I guess the only thing that Tangela really helped in dealing with was, I guess, Spores from Breloom, which the rest of his team doesn't take. But I think that's way too small of a niche. I guess something like maybe, I don't know, Yeah, I'm not really sure. I guess that's one reason he could bring it, but I still don't think it has enough of a. I still don't think that's enough of a reason to warrant bringing Tangela over the other mons. Claydol, it just didn't have the matchup here. So yeah, so let's finally jump into our team builder, the team that we brought. And so the first mon on my team is going to be I'm sorry, yeah, I'm really thirsty right now. Just came back from a run. So the first mon is going to be Jwala, my Magmortar, with Earthquake, Fire Blast, Mark Punch, and Hidden Power Ice. Now, this is a fairly curious Magmortar set. I mean, this is not the kind of set that you'll see running too often. But here I had good reason for running it. So the speed stat is here to speed creep a Mew, which in turn was trying to speed creep a max speed Breloom that I could bring. And I thought this was a very likely speed tier that he could run because he would need the bulk for my Mega Kangaskhan, and he would also try to have some speed so that he doesn't get broken by an SD Breloom. So I thought this is a speed tier that he could try and hit, and that's why I had enough speed to outspeed that. Max special attack for max power behind the Fire Blast and the HP Ice, and the rest was put into attack. Now, the purpose of this set was basically to bait kill both of its checks. So the main Magmortar switch-ins on his team were the AV Monk and Lantern. And thing is that after Fire Blast damage, both the Alolan Muk and the Lantern get taken out by a Z Earthquake, unless either of them is Shuka, which I don't think they'd bring to this match. So that's that. HP Ice is there for the, what's it called, the Noivern. Mark Punch is here to get some chip damage off on the Megalopony, or the what's the other one? The Lycanroc Dusk. Although to be honest, yeah, Lycanroc Dusk will kill me with what's it called? What's its priority move? The Axel Rock. Yeah, the Axel Rock before I can even touch it. So that's the first member of the team. And in general, this really threatened him offensively because he doesn't have the best of fire type switch-ins other than the two mons that I just mentioned. So that's that. Now, next mon is going to be my Magneton with a Choice Scarf in this game. It's going to have Thunderbolt, Toxic, Volt Switch, and Flash Cannon. The Toxic is to catch Lantern on the switch in case he's bringing Shed Shell Skarmory, because if he does that, then the Lantern is going to be his most natural switch into my Magneton, although he could also go Alolan Muk, but I think that's going to preserve for Age Slash. So anyway, yeah, the dual stab, Thunderbolt, Flash Cannon, Volt Switch is there for momentum, Toxic is there to put the Lantern on a timer. As far as EV spread, standard 250 to 252 because yeah, I was just too lazy to think of something creative for this mon. Professionalism. So the next mon on my team is going to be my AV Vaporeon with max defense. Now the reason I'm using a spread, oh god, yeah, there is the cell phone ring. Yeah, I always forget to turn this thing off before recording my vids. Anyway, yeah, the reason I decided to go with a spread like this was because on one hand I needed something that could even remotely take a hit from Megalopony, and on the other hand I needed something that could always take hits from the Blacephalon. So running Assault Vest Vaporeon with max defense kinda achieves both, although not really, to be honest, because Adamant Megalopony still to hit kills this with High Jump Kick after rocks. So yeah, it's shaky. My matchup against Megalopony is absolutely terrible. But anyway, as far as moveset, it's carrying Scald, Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, Synchronize, Scald for main stab, Ice Beam for the Noivern and the Tangela. So Shadow Ball is there for, what was it there for again? Yeah, the Mew, and Synchronize. Okay, so since I'm running an AV set, I will be forced to run 4 attacking moves, and to be honest, I didn't really need anything apart from Scald and Ice Beam. So I was going through his moveset looking for something interesting to run. I thought of Quick Attack to pick off a weekend, Megalopony, I guess, but it's doing way too little damage, especially with this attack stat 121 is just pitiful. So I kept looking some more, so I definitely needed a special attack. So I was like, okay, let me just look for special attacks. So I was going through this set, I found Hyper Voice kind of interesting, Mud Slap kind of interesting, but in the end I found this thing, Synchronize. Now if you have not used Synchronize before, what it basically does is that in case the user of this move is sharing typing with the victim, this move only works in that condition. So basically, if Vaporeon is using Synchronize on let's say a Landrusty, it will fail because it only works if the victim is sharing the typing. But if Vaporeon is using Synchronize on, let's say, a Toxapex, is going to do damage. It's going to do massive damage. So the reason I'm running Synchronize here is because I wanted to get some damage off on the Lantern with this thing. Because depending on the Lantern spread, it could be a huge annoyance for my offensive mons in Magmortar and another mon which we'll talk about later. So that's my Vaporeon. The next mon on my team is going to be Breloom carrying the Lumberry with Technician, and this is pretty standard 252. Okay, not really standard. Yeah, max speed, and this not max speed, max attack and 180 speed with the Jolly Nature allows me to guaranteed outspeed max speed timid Sylveon. 72. The remaining was put into HP to hit an odd number, with the 4 being dumped into special defense. Now, the main purpose of this thing is basically to get rid of his Mega Lopunny. I needed to, because as I said, my team doesn't really have the best defensive answers for Mega Lopunny, so I needed to deal with that thing offensively. So this is what I came up with. Mark Punch with a Technician boost always takes out a Mega Lopunny. Rock Tomb is there for the Blacephalon. Spore is Spore, just putting things to sleep. Now the sub. The main purpose of the sub is to basically take advantage of him switching out his Mega Lopunny when I get in my Breloom. So basically he kills something with his Mega Lopunny, I get in my Breloom, I threaten him with Mark Punch, he switches out, I take advantage of the switch, I sub up, and his most likely switch-ins are the Skarmory, which I'm going to put to sleep and then get the fuck out of there, or the Blacephalon if he's trying to play aggressively. And if he brings the Blacephalon, then boom, Rock Tomb Mokos that shit. So that's that for its moveset. I scan the Lumberry because if you look at my team, this is the only thing that takes non-super effective damage from both of what's it called? Was that more Lantern? Yeah. So it resists both of Lantern stabs, so it's something that I would like to switch into Lantern. So in case Lantern goes for Scald and gets a burn, Lumberry will be able to cure that burn and will still keep my Breloom functional. So that's that. And the next mon on my team is going to be the most controversial mon in this season. In my opinion, the second most controversial. Mega Lati shouldn't have been allowed. Anyway, it's Aegislash. We're holding the Choppleberry, and this time it's running 4 attacks: Shadow Ball, Sacred Soul, Sneak, and Iron Head. Shadow Ball is going to be its main form of stab. Hits stuff like the Mew for super effective damage and the Clay Doll. In general, it deals out very consistent damage against him. His only immunity to that is, however, the Mega Lopunny, which also happens to be the biggest threat against me, which is why I'm carrying the Choppleberry and Sacred Sword. Now, basically the thing is, Mega Lopunny's High Jump Kick takes out Aegislash from any range of health. Irrespective of the amount of investment I'm putting in its defense, it will always take it out. Since he's almost guaranteed to run Adam and Lopunny against me, so he's definitely going to take me out. So what this allows me to do is, with the Choppleberry, I can take a High Jump Kick if I'm in my shield form, and then I can hit him back with Sacred Sword, and while it won't kill him, it will still do upwards of 80%. So at that point, I can just pick it off with anything at that point, anything on my team. So yeah, that's that. Sneak was there only for the Scarf Blacephalon, because that thing can potentially ruin my entire matchup. So yeah, Sneak was basically to revenge kill. That would also help against his other faster mons like the Lycanroc Dusk and Noivern. And Iron Head is there, yeah, because I needed a 4th move on this thing, and since I cannot use this beautiful little thing called a King Shield, I just opted to go for a stab move, Iron Head instead. So yeah, that's that. Now, as far as EV spread, the speed EVs allow me to outspeed a standard Skarmory, which the Pokemon the Showdown Team Builder tool suggests. Like every time you build a standard Skarmory set, it will always suggest you to run 24 speed on that, and it hits somewhere around 179 after that. So this is going to help me. So this 96 speed EV is going to help me outspeed that. 248 in HP is just for maximum HP, quite obvious. The 120 attacks, the 120 points in attack, it will help me to OHKO a 0 bulk Blacephalon with Shadow Sneak from full, and the rest was just put into special attack because I wanted to get off as much damage with Shadow Ball as possible. Now, the final mon on my team is going to be the Mamoswine. Yeah, this is another quite interesting EV spread. So basically, this is running 8 speed just because these were the 8 remaining HPs that I had left. 248 HP for max health, and 70. Now the thing is, this 176 spread up. What was this for again? This was for okay. Oh wait. I actually made a mistake here. So now basically, I made this EV spread So basically, this was something else at first. This used to be Mamoswine was my original Lumberry holder on this team. So basically, it could have switched into a Scald from Lantern and threatened it out immediately. So what this EV spread was initially for, it was to prevent getting 2-hit KO'd by the Blacephalon. So basically, with 248 HP and 176 SPDF with SPDF increase, which one is this? This is Careful Nature. I could never be 2-hit KO'd by Scarf Blacephalon's Flamethrower. However, at the last minute, I decided to switch up the items on my Breloom and my Mamoswine. So Breloom ended up carrying the Lumberry. Breloom was originally going to be Life Orb, just standard Life Orb for maximum power, and this was carrying the Lumberry. So this I changed the Lumberry to Orca because in case he was like a Fire Blast instead, although I don't really think he neared the power from Fire Blast in this match. If he was Fire Blast with at +1, he could still blow past my Mamoswine. Yeah, it's crazy to think how hard that thing really hits. So I changed to Orca Berry so it can still take that hit, and with 76 attack I could one-hit KO Lantern, I could one-hit KO Alolan Muk as long as they are not Sugar Berry. And yeah, so that is that, I guess. So these are the 6 mons that I brought to the matchup, and with that being said, let us now jump on over to the actual battle. Alright, now looking at his team, the 6 mons that I predicted were the what's it called? The Alolan Muk, the Mew, the Skarmory, the Lopunny, the Lantern, and the Blacephalon. And he brought 4 out of those 6. The 2 mons that I didn't expect were the Tangela and the Lycanroc Dusk. Now, to be honest, the only reason Tangela is here is just to take on this Breloom. Simple as that. Because nothing else on his team really appreciates getting spored on. And other than that, the Lycanroc Dusk is just here for being a strong priority attacker, I guess, because once it gets up a Swords Dance, I can really see this thing just tearing through my team. But anyway, yeah, at lead matchup, I was fearing him leading off with the Mew or the Skarmory to try and get up hazards early against me. Even he could have led off with what's it called? Sash Lycanroc in case he brought that. So I decided to lead off with my Aegislash because this thing had a favorable matchup against all 3 of them, and he decided to lead off with this what's it called? The Lopunny. Now, yeah, you can already read this thing just went for substitute. But anyway, yeah. So my thought process was, alright, the Lopunny is in, it's definitely going to fake out turn 1 and get its Mega Evolution off. Then turn 2, it's going to go for the High Jump Kick and ruin me. So that's what I was thinking. So I was like, okay, if he goes for High Jump Kick, he procs my Chople Berry and I won't die. And at the same time, I will go for the Sacred Sword and I will get some big damage off on this. However, this man just goes for Substitute and in regular form as well. He didn't even Mega Evolve, which is quite weird. And I went for Sacred Sword, I break this sub. However, this was an excellent bring on his part because I'll tell you why. Now that I have lost my shield form, now that I am in the blade form, even Chople Berry doesn't help me live a High Jump Kick from this Mega Lopunny. So some High Jump Kick is definitely going to ruin any non-King Shield set of Aegislash that I could have brought. So this was a fantastic bring on his part. So at this point I'm like, okay, now the onus is on me. I have to find out something to go out into to take this thing's High Jump Kick. So as I'm looking at my team, I'm looking at his team, I'm like, okay, which mon do I need the least against him? So I decided that alright, it could be my Vaporeon because Vaporeon was mainly there for the Blacephalon and Blacephalon did not come. So maybe I could try and let go of the Vaporeon. So I go out into my Vaporeon as he switches out into his Tangela again. So basically he was fearing Sacred Sword from me, which was kind of weird because at this point I was like, wait a second, why did he switch out? He had the freest High Jump Kick of his life right there. Like, okay, maybe he is some other set, maybe he's Drain Punch, maybe he's not sure if Drain Punch will take me out. Whatever it is, I don't really care. I went out into my Vaporeon as he went out into his Tangela, and now I'm like, alright, oh shit, this Tangela is in again, and this is pretty annoying because it's most likely going to go for a Toxic or a Leech Seed. So my two switch-ins at this point were basically the Breloom and what's it called? The other one, the Magmortar. Now, Breloom couldn't really do anything to this Tangela because, yeah, all I'm carrying is Mark Punch and Rock Tomb, and Tangela has fantastic physical bulk with an Eviolite, so I knew I couldn't touch that. So the other option was definitely Magmortar, which I indeed do end up going out into as my opponent decides to fire off a Leech Seed with his Tangela. So we get some recovery back from my Magmortar, and at this point I'm like, okay, this is the freest Fire Blast of my life, because even if he brings in his Lycanroc Dust, believe me, I didn't do the calc, but Lycanroc Dust will take a lot. Lycanroc Dust is not supposed to take hits from Magmortar. So I just go for the Fire Blast straight up. Yes, he goes out into his Alolan Muck. The Fire Blast lands, thankfully, and it does 47%. Now this damage tells me that this thing is not Assaultvest, because Assaultvest took like 30% from Fire Blast, from Timid Magmortar. So this tells me this is really vital information. So right now it could be one of two things. One, or three things rather. One, it could be Choice Band. Two, it could be Curse Alolan Muck with Pinchberry and Gluttony. Or three, it could be Shukaberry. So I'm like, okay, whatever set this is, I have only one play here, and that is the reason I got Ground EMZ to this match. So Ground EMZ Earthquake is fired off, and the Alolan Muck goes down, which is excellent, because now my Magneton's game is looking much better in the Magneton's time is looking much better in the end game, because yeah, Flash Cannon plus Thunderbolt kind of bops his entire team. So now he brings in this Mega Lopunny again, and I'm like, okay, time to sack something. All right, Vaporeon, your time is here now. He again remains in unmegad form for some reason and goes to the sub. I'm still not sure why he's doing this. But he did this for some reason, and he goes behind a sub again. So I'm sure at this point he's going to fire off a high jump kick, but he goes for the power up punch. Now, interesting thing, while prepping for this match, the Lopunny set that I thought was most likely was indeed a power up punch variant, but not with substitute, because I just didn't see the sub coming, to be honest. So a set that I thought he would bring was power up punch, high jump kick, return, and quick attack, because quick attack could help him dispatch with the Breloom. Yeah. So he goes for the power up punch, gets a +1 attack, so I'm not too surprised with that. But at the same time, Scarl is going to break his sub. Even if he was Mega Evolved, it still breaks him. And now he goes for the Unmega Evolved Last Resort. I'm like, what? What is this guy doing? What ability does regular Lopunny get that helps him out in this situation? I could understand if Vaporeon learned Thunder Wave somehow, and I could paralyze him, because this regular Lopunny gets Limber. But Vaporeon does not learn Thunder Wave, and all I could do was burn it. So I went for the Skull, and I indeed burned it. So at this point, Sky let us know in the chat that he had actually forgotten to Mega Evolve his Lopunny, which is really, really unfortunate for him, because if this was Mega Lopunny, I'm pretty sure he would have taken me out. I'm pretty sure that Last Resort would have taken me out right there. So yeah. It is what it is. Although that wouldn't really have been end of the game, because at that point, since he revealed Last Resort, so his 3 moves were sub, power punch, Last Resort. He didn't have 4th move. At that point, he couldn't have killed my Aegislash no matter what, and he was in range of Sacred Sword from my Aegislash. So basically, I would have killed him off, and I could have taken the match out from there. But it is what it is. He goes for another Last Resort on the next turn, and he finally Mega Evolves while doing so as well, and that's going to take out my Vaporeon. But it did its job. It dealt with the Mega Lopunny, as Mega Lopunny went down itself to the burn. And now I decided that, okay, once again, his only Shadow Ball immunity is gone, and I'm going to bring in my Shadow Ball user in Aegislash. So Aegislash is in, as this thing goes for the Calm Mind, and this is scary. Now how much does my Shadow Ball do? It all depends on that. Oh, never mind, Shadow Ball did more than 50%, and Shadow Ball got that SPDF drop, which was really huge. Now why was it huge? You'll find out in a minute, because I stayed in to go for Shadow Ball, as he reveals to have Shadow Ball of his own, which is definitely going to take out an Aegislash Blade all day all night. And now I'm going to go into my Magmortar. Now. Two things. One, as I said, I was not expecting the Mew to run max speed. I was expecting it to outspeed the Breloom and put everything else into bulk and maybe offense in this case, as it seems. Two, if I'm not, it doesn't matter how much SPDF he's running, Fire Blast is always going to 2-hit KO him. It's always going to do more than 50. Unless however he somehow got a SPDF raise, which he did with the Calm Mind. But since I got lucky with the SPDF drop from Shadow Ball, I know for a fact that I can take out Fire Blast, as it indeed turns out to be a slower Mew, so that helps me out. So that's another kill for my Magmortar, not Megamortar. So in comes the Lycanroc Dust, which is definitely going to go for an Accelerock at this point, and as I go out into my Mamoswine. So the Mamoswine stays in here. Oh no, so wait a second. Oh yeah, so I take the hit with Mamo, and now he could have gone for something like Iron Head. I'm not sure if it gets Iron Head, maybe an Iron Tail. or maybe he was fearing Scarf EQ. So I could basically go out into my Breloom, because Breloom took most of the hits that the Lycanroc Dust could have gone for there, or he could have made, or it also dealt with the more likely Skarmory switch that he could have made. So basically I went out into Breloom as he went out into his Skarm. Now Spore is looking mighty obvious here, so his most obvious Spore switching is going to be the Tangela. So I predict the Tangela coming in, and I go out into my Magmortar, as he does indeed just go out into his Tangela. Now once again, Magmortar is in, Magmortar is here, Magmortar is about to fire off a Fire Blast, and he does not have a switch into that. So basically I fire off a Fire Blast, he has to let this thing go down. As the Tangela goes down, in comes the Lycanroc Dust. Now the safer play here would have been to just let this thing die, so maybe go for the Earthquake, go for an attack, let this thing die, then bring in my Breloom and kill it off. But I kinda got a bit greedy here. I go out into my Breloom, as luckily for me he didn't set up, he went for Stone Edge instead, and he reveals to be Life Orb, which he revealed a few minutes ago, but I forgot to mention. Now Mark Punch is mighty obvious here, so he goes for the Excel Rock, gets some chip off, because even if he went to Skarmory, it wouldn't have made any difference in the world, because I would have gone for a Spore and I would have put it to sleep. I go for the Mark Punch, I kill it, as out comes the Skarmory. I have only one job left here to do, the match is basically wrapped up. I go for the Spore, put this thing to sleep, as now I can just basically do whatever the fuck I want. I wanted to go into Magmortar and give it one more kill and make it kills leader with 4 kills, but in the end I decided, nah, YOLO, let's just play it safe and preserve the differential. I go on into my Magneton, I Thunderbolt once, as the Skarmory doesn't wake up, so it's, yeah, another Thunderbolt and GG. And so with a lot of help from Lady Luck this time, thank you for making up for that final from the last season, we are able to beat Sky and his really scary team in week 1. So if you like that battle, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel, let me know your thoughts on the battle, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.